The Joe Rogan Experience.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was worth $1
Bennington's
a year.
the best, dude.
Bennington's so good.
Great.
He's the best.
Dude, he's been doing on stage lately. He did my storytelling show too recently. Did the same thing. Just talking about the good old days of fucking drug addiction in New
He
York.
used to get down, dude.
He describes the city that you're like, oh my God, I want to be there. He used to get down.
When did you go? What year?
What?
First time in the city.
I went there 6 years. Oh, first time I've ever been there?
Yeah.
Oh, like,
did you see Times Square when it was Times Square?
Yeah. But I was like, what's that woman wearing a bra? Just a bra. My mom was like, whatever.
What they did at Times Square, they turned Times Square into like a Disney mall.
It is
disgusting.
It's New York's version of like Disneyland. Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, and it's a nightmare whenever you're visiting, and also like when you're visiting, you're in a car. Hey, we need to go to this, and all of a sudden you look up. And you're like, are we in fucking Times Square? Like you're just driving through it. I'm like, we gotta get out of here, man.
Right.
Like the chaos, and it's just like it's too commercialized.
It's so commercial for no reason.
It's it feels like everything that makes New York amazing is like gone.
Gaffigan used to do a funny joke about it that you go for a meeting and then like you're walking and people are just looking up and he's like, why is that? I was like, oh fuck, I'm in Times Square.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Who says that?
Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, that's
funny. That's funny. Yeah. Well, it's like it's very Vegas-esque. It's like walking down the strip.
Yes, it is. It's like
with the lights and
it's all control. It's fake.
LEDs.
There's no M&Ms. That's not where it was invented. Yeah. So why is that a giant M&M store?
And when you used to know what it was like with like peep shows and XXX everywhere, and it was seedy and weird.
Yeah.
But everybody,
dangerous.
Yeah, it was dangerous. Like legitimately dangerous.
The worst time, 70s, 80s, right? That was like the worst crime time. Late 70s into the mid to late 80s.
I was hanging out in New York in the 80s. That was my pool hustling days, and I was doing a lot of gigs. I guess it wasn't the 80s; it was the 90s, the early 90s. Because by 91 was I think the first time I ever performed in New York. 91 or maybe 92.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Well, this is like you're just starting out though, kind of.
Yes. You would go to Amsterdam Billiards then?
Yes.
What was it?
No, it's Chelsea Billiards. Chelsea Billiards was where we would go to Amsterdam, but Amsterdam was on the west side back then. It was on Amsterdam.
It moved.
That's why it was called Amsterdam Billiards.
That makes sense.
It was on the west side. It was an awesome place. That's when I became friends with Dom Herrera. Played pool with him in '94 at Amsterdam Billiards. I didn't know he played. Like when I would meet a pool player, like a comic who actually plays, like Dom could play.
He called me today. I can't wait. We're going to podcast.
I love that guy. I love him so much. But New York was a different place, man. I was around a lot of these like weirdo, homeless, grifter type characters.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of dudes would get arrested for doing 3-card money. Like the pool hall was like the best education of like street culture, like people who live on the street. I mean, people were basically homeless. Like sometimes they'll stay here or there. Like my friend Johnny was always like staying in he stayed at my house for sometimes. He would stay in these weird little hostels and flop houses in New York and places that didn't have a roof. Like you have walls, but there would be like no roof. So like everybody could hear everybody.
I remember like as a kid in that era, the perception that you had of New York is like, this is nothing but crime.
Right.
Like they were just like, this is dangerous. You're not allowed to go.
Wow, Giuliani, he clamped down on all that shit.
I remember when I moved and I found a place and I came back to get my stuff and I told Neil Brennan, I was like, I don't think they have bars in my back window. Do I need that? He goes, oh, dude, read the crime stats. It's a different city now. It's just not that city anymore.
Yeah, I moved there in '97, and it was
city
nothing.
in the world.
It was already safe then.
'97, I mean, I don't remember any crime whatsoever. Although I did get taken in 3-card money a number of times.
But they didn't force you.
Anytime I saw 3-card money, my brain, I'm like, I fucking got this. Fucking put money down.
Hilarious,
dude. And they used to have this game where they had a nail and a piece of board, and you had a hammer, and you had 3 shots to get the nail in.
They have that in Thailand,
dude. I do
all
that
over
every fucking time.
It's so hard.
There were so many hustlers.
Yeah.
There's so many hustlers, right? Back in those days in New York, so many people trying to get off some kind of scam.
Yeah, I've been scammed by a driver in New York.
How? What?
Like this was not even that long ago. I mean, it was probably like 7-8 years. Like you get in the cab and you're like, if you don't live there, but you kind of know like the layout, you're just like basically, I want to go up, 20 blocks this way, right? And the guy just goes across town and starts going up like the opposite highway, from where we were. I'm like, what are we doing exactly?
There's already you could track yourself on your phone.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it like, what are we doing? And he's like, we're going up I go, couldn't you have just gone up that avenue that we were on? And he was like, I don't know what's going on, man. And I'm like, I go, well, this is fucking outrageous. And then when we pull up, I see like the meter going. I'm like, this is crazy. That was supposed to be a 10-minute drive, and it's taken 40 minutes. He goes, just pay me whatever you want to pay me.
What?
Yeah, and I go, okay.
Because he didn't want to get caught.
Yeah, and I
He
go,
knew you were
okay.
gonna say that.
So I go, like, the thing said like $68, and I was like, here's $20. He's like, that's it? I go, you said what you want to pay. That's what I want to pay. So
What?
I'll see you, man. Yeah, but it was he
And-
was
and
totally
he was cool with it.
Yeah, because he
scamming
totally
you.
did
Scammed
fuck
you.
me. Yeah,
He
yeah.
scammed you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that in Israel once in Jerusalem. When I got there, I was like, take me to Bnei Brak. And I didn't realize I was 3 blocks over. He just told me, like, oh, it's
Right.
right there, dude.
Of
But
course.
instead, he took me around the city and then
Yeah.
let me off. And then when I wanted to go home afterwards, I was like, what? It's
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah, that's how you find out.
Yeah, that's how you find out.
I found out on my way on that cab ride because I started texting people at the next place. I was like, I was just leaving here and I'm going to see you. Should I be on the fucking highway?
Do I need my passport?
Yeah, and they're like, no.
So you didn't speak Spanish in that moment?
He was not
Russian?
from. one
See,
of
I would
those
have
places.
gone right to Spanish. Gone to a language that makes me feel powerful.
Nigerian.
I got
Nigerian.
pickpocketed in Florence, and I went into Russian. Every word I knew in Russian, I yelled at the guy, and he ran.
Because he was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
He's like, Russians are fucking
You
animals.
should have yelled out America, you fucking traitor. You should have yelled out America and take your fucking shirt off and said, I'm the machine, and started running after him.
Trump,
Yeah.
motherfucker, what?
And then
Yeah,
my wife
what's
yells
up
up
with that,
behind me,
bro?
he's scared, more scared of you than you are of him.
He doesn't do cocaine. He doesn't do cocaine. He's afraid of cocaine.
Ah, that's hilarious. You should write that down. You should write that down. You should write that whole thing down about you talking about on the radio. That is hilarious.
And
You should
then
totally
you know
be
what?
doing that on stage.
Then because the audience is gonna be like, so wait, what do you do? Then you pull out coke and you do a bump.
yeah,
Yeah,
do
yeah,
a bump
yeah.
right in front of
Dude.
everybody, and then you start making no sense, and then blood comes out of your nose.
Dude, it's an awesome show.
Yeah, you could do meth if you want. If you don't want to do the coke that night.
You take your high blood pressure medication on stage
Chop
in front of
that
the
up.
crowd.